Hey y'all, welcome back to my channel. I just played Mouthwashing last week as a part of my festivities for Summerween, and I just thought this week it would be fun to try and recommend some books to the characters. So just a heads up, Mouthwashing is a horror game. It's a pretty gruesome horror game, and all of the books, in the spirit of Hot Girl Summer, all of the books that I'm recommending are going to be horror books or horror adjacent. So I just want to go ahead and give that warning, give you a heads up before we dive in. But we'll start out with the captain of the ship, Curly. If you're not familiar with the premise of Mouthwashing, it's about a group of people who are on a cargo ship that gets stuck in space after it has hit an asteroid. And the main captain, the person who's in charge of everything, is badly injured in the wreck, and they are trying to take care of him, sort of. They're mostly keeping him quiet with painkillers, but he has been very badly injured. He's lost some of his limbs. He is badly burned. He's having a bad time, but as the game progresses, you kind of learn more about him and about all the other characters and their various relationships. So Captain Curly is, being the leader of the group, he is the responsible one. He is the one who is out there trying to fix things. And we see that throughout a lot of the flashbacks. We see him trying to make sure that the other people on the ship are okay, trying to fix things when things go wrong. But one of Curly's major failings is that he is close friends with his co-pilot and really just fails to see the person that his co-pilot really is. He fails to take action when he knows that the co-pilot, Jimmy, who we'll talk about in a minute, is behaving very poorly. And so he tries to fix things without really getting to the root of the problem. And so for him, I wanted to recommend Tread of Angels by Rebecca Runhorse. This is about a pair of sisters, one of whom gets accused of murder, and they're living in this world where some people are descended from angels and demons, and some people are not, and the people who are descended from angels and demons are kind of considered superior. One of the sisters can pass as the descendant of an angel or demon, but the other one cannot. They're both mixed race, and they don't share the one quality that marks somebody as being descended from angels or demons. So we're following the sister who can pass as a descendant of these groups, whereas the other sister is the one accused of murder. And basically our main character's failing is really just failing to see her sister as the person that she is and constantly trying to fix things without getting to the root of the problem. So I feel like this would be a good book for Captain Curly. I don't want to say anything more about this because it is so short, and I think it's really interesting. It's really beautifully written. Rebecca Runhorse, I feel like, just kind of never misses for me, so I'm confident in this selection, but I don't want to tell you too much and ruin it for anyone who might be wanting to pick it up. Next up, for our co-pilot, Jimmy, he is a character who, kind of in the wake of the crash, when Curly is kind of out of commission, he's trying to kind of take on that mantle of the leader and fix things, but he mostly makes things worse. And I want to recommend him Horror Store by Grady Hendrix. I didn't love this book, but it's very much a book about taking responsibility and not running from the consequences of your actions, and I think that that is a message that Jimmy very badly needs to hear. So I think he should read Horror Store. Oh, also, the other reason I wanted to mention this one is that I feel like there's an interesting dynamic between our main character in this, Amy, who would be kind of our Jimmy adjacent character, and her boss Basil versus Jimmy and Curly. I think there's similar kinds of resentment between those characters, and I think that the relationship dynamic here would be good for Jimmy to see the way that Amy and Basil's relationship grows and the way they come to understand each other better throughout the story. I think Jimmy needs to see that too. Next up we have Anya, who is the one woman on the ship. She's the ship nurse, and she's a nurse having dropped out of medical school. She couldn't actually finish the requirements to become a doctor, so we find that out within the first few minutes of the game, so that's not really a spoiler. But being the nurse, she's really empathetic and really struggles throughout the course of the story, given that there's horrific things happening, but it's her failure to take on her job that causes pretty significant changes within the group, and in some ways I think changes that almost have to happen to break the tension surrounding them. So for her, I wanted to recommend The Deep by River Solomon, which is also about someone whose role is kind of pivotal for her people. This is following Yetu, who is the kind of keeper of memories amongst the Wajenru, and she finds it incredibly difficult, the way that Anya finds it very difficult to care for Curly. Yetu finds it very difficult to carry all of the pain and trauma of her people, and so the choices that she makes as a result of that strain are pivotal to the events that happen in here and the breaking of the tension around the Wajenru people and the tension between them and the people living at the surface. So I think there's some similarities in the role they play in the story between Anya and Yetu. Not direct comparison, but I think that they both because they find their roles difficult, it's like that difficulty that leads to the kind of climax of the events. Our penultimate character is Swansea. He's the mechanic, and he basically falls apart as soon as things start to get bad. He has been sober for 10 years, and he starts drinking again as soon as things start to turn bad, and he becomes very convinced that he sees a reality that the other characters don't seem to be noticing, and that he knows what best to do to get through the situation, but it leads to him doing some pretty dramatic and scary things. So for him, I wanted to recommend Night of the Mannequins by Stephen Graham Jones. This is a story about a young man who believes that he and his friends are being haunted by a mannequin that they used to play pranks with, and as the story progresses, you start to question whether they're being haunted by the mannequin or whether they're being haunted by Sawyer himself. So I feel like there's some, again, kind of crossover there in the roles that these characters play in the story. And finally, we have Daisuke. Daisuke is the kind of wild card. He's the newest member of the team. He is an intern who's supposed to be there to learn mechanics from Swansea, but Swansea and him have this kind of tense relationship where it's not clear that Swansea likes him until quite a ways into their relationship, but Daisuke is clearly like wanting to fit in. He really wants to get along with the group. He wants to be a part of the group. He also clearly really wants to learn, but he really struggles with this feeling of not fitting in and feeling like he's a failure. And so for him, I wanted to recommend Mongrels by Stephen Graham Jones, so another Stephen Graham Jones book. I'm recommending this one to him though, because in this we're also following a character who is part of a family and desperately wants to fit in, but feels like he is the odd man out, that he is the only person who doesn't have the like special qualities that his family does. His family are werewolves. The young boy is waiting to find out if he's going to be a werewolf or not, and there's this tension for him where if he doesn't become a werewolf, he actually has to like leave his family. So for Daisuke, there's this tension where he wants to be a part of the group. He wants to learn how to do his job well, but he really is the wrench in the machine as he is trying to like navigate his relationships with the others, and it's looking like, you know, once this particular trip is done, he may lose his position on the ship. So a lot of, again, overlap with the characters and the roles that they play. I think that was really what I was going for with this selection. It was just, how do these characters overlap with the main characters of these books? Where are there kind of connections to be drawn in the roles that they play in their individual stories? So those are the books that I want to recommend to the Mouthwashing characters. Let me know down in the comments below, either if you've read some of these and what you thought of them, or if you have a different selection that you would recommend to either any of these characters. Not either of these characters, any of these characters. And I really hope you enjoyed this video. If you have, I hope you're considering giving it a like, maybe even subscribing to see what comes next. Currently posting on Tuesdays and Saturdays, and I hope to see you in the next video. Bye!